Hello, welcome back to Bentosushi Live Noding. In this episode, I want to give you kind of like a breakdown of this workflow that I use to create this Haniwa. So Haniwa is this basically a clay figure that you found often buried with the dead as funerary objects during the Kofun period in the history of Japan. There's a lot of them, all kind of different Haniwa. We're gonna be creating one. So this guy, it looks a little bit like Cactuar of Final Fantasy, but there's a lot of variations of this. It's actually, yeah, look at this. This is like Cactuar, but basically it's a fun clay figure that you can create. It doesn't need to be super complex. You can make your own design. Basically, normally has certain face. So I created one, and this actually all of them is procedural. Believe it or not, it's actually if you look at this, okay, this is just simply made of multiple primitives, right? The bottom part is like a cylinder. This part is a little bit, it's also like a cylinder, maybe slightly extruded. This is just like a donut cut in half. Or yeah, this is actually the way I created this. I use a circle and I simply bevel it with another smaller circle with smaller radius. See, if I actually made changes, you can see I can make changes there, and this guy is remesh, and it's gonna update itself. I thought this is kind of like a pretty cool idea. This one is definitely made of multiple different parts. There's one that's hidden. This is the hole for the eyes and the mouth, right? It's just a cylinder. Also, you can also use this like as a to create a nose, maybe. So this is the epsilon. I have this handle over here. This handle is actually this guy over here. So I could move this around, and this will update like that. If I put it back and reposition, it will update accordingly. So I use this to rotate and reposition this torus, half torus, basically. Okay, and the eyes, let's actually take a look what's going on. First, this is the cylinder with inset faces. So this might be slightly weird. I'm basically extruding the top and the bottom part of the cylinder with this guy. And then I have just a basic cylinder. This is for the bottom part. Okay, just like that. It's gonna create that thing. You can add all sort of details if you like. And this is the eyes, I think. See how it's updating itself? I'm basically using Boolean as well. There's this n-gon with a radius. That's actually how I reposition the eyeballs. I have all sort of things like move, scale. I can reposition the eyeballs and nose, or eyeballs in the mouth, and update. This guy is gonna update itself. And this is of course Voxel Remesher. The way I put it together, simply in the end I just select all of this mesh, bring it into SquareChop using objects in. You see all this, the list of all the objects. Enable post modifier, just apply the matrix or apply the transformations, and the output, this zeta is a remesh. And then so you can, once you have this, you can further do things like sculpting. We have something cool with Blender 2.83. This is the clay and the clay stripes. Actually, you can add more details this way. This is already like goes into like a sculpting. It's totally valid, I think, because the way we create our objects is really also kind of like a sculpting, because the mesh, the topology of the mesh, you might think, okay, the topology might be a little bit funky. It's actually not too bad. This is remesh, right? If you're really keen, like you want something that's more like quad, you can certainly use the remesh and quad. Use this quad reflow. Okay, remesh failing maybe because we don't want the paint symmetry. Maybe we need higher value. Faces, edge length ratio. This time maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. So quad reflow, I have certain degree of successing and failure. Okay, this one is probably slightly better. Cool. Yeah, it's flowing more nicely. Okay, if you want to animate this character ever, you don't want this to happen, but this is good. You can sculpt it. So with this clay and clay stripes, just adding a little bit of clay, you know, like this is gonna give kind of more natural look. Kind of nice. And if you actually really want, with character like this, I'm gonna give you another tips. There is something that's really cool in Blender. This is a cube. If I go to edit mode and I just merge at center, we end up with a single vertices dot. We can extrude it. Let's say I want to create a different, you know, like a tentacle. Okay, I have this. I can give skin modifier, and we have this, right? You can attach this to the character. You can still shape it. If I go back to edit mode and enable X-ray, skin modifier is really quite powerful. Not many people talk about it these days, but it's actually super powerful. You can create branching. It's almost like zebra's Z-sphere a little bit. Let's say you have something like this. You can subdivide it, right? Turn off X-ray. I don't know what it is. It's maybe like a horn. You can add this guy together, and then just remesh it. See how it just merge itself. So there's a lot of potential here. Maybe if I cut this, yeah, let's make it like a real horn. Go to the front view. This guy is too close to his to her skirt, and we can reshape the horn, make it asymmetrical. It's more natural. I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be detailed. This could be like, people might look at it, okay, it's like a very primitive looking sculpt, right? It's not a kind of thing, but you know, this is actually quite realistic. Many people, all kind of tribes, have this kind of thing, this kind of Haniwa. So yeah, it's very powerful. I think powerful workflow. Why not? We can even use this torus. So the torus from Blender, if it's like this, it's not procedural. You can use modifier to make it more procedural, but I think I don't mind too much in this case. Yeah, right. I think it's quite fun. It's really fun where it's kind of like thinking in terms of clay. You can work with the primitive objects, and it's just gonna work itself, just merging itself together. So thanks to a lot of nodes in SphereTalk, you can go in and out into components while still in object mode. SphereTalk is really powerful like that, and then Blender modifier like Remesh also kind of connecting everything, kind of fusing and blending everything together. All right, so yeah, hopefully you find this Haniwa kind of useful and interesting for you to try yourself. Try making your own Haniwa, your own design, and see what you can come out with. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.